If your leagues accept individual registrations, the time will come to find teams for those individuals. And we're going to learn how to do that using League Lab's Team Builder. We're starting here on the Teams and Players page for one of our leagues. We look down at the bottom and we see we do have a whole bunch of individuals registered and that none of them are assigned to teams yet. So the first thing we'll do is go up to the top and use our league navigation to find the Team Builder. We'll start with a little tour of the different parts of the Team Builder. The first thing we have is the teams that are available to add individuals onto. At the beginning, we just have the individual teams that we've created so far. We have the ability to create new new teams for individuals. And then we have a list of non-indie teams that we might want to add teams to as well. So we can bring the Blasters in, and if the Blasters captain had told us that they need a player and we have an extra individual, we could place the individual onto that team also. Down below, we have a list of all of the individuals who aren't yet assigned to teams. We have a few tools down here where we can learn more about the individuals so that we can place them on to the correct teams. The first thing to notice is we have our switchable column here. It starts on the sign-up date, and you'll also notice that the individuals are sorted according to their sign-up date. So Jimmy Jones was the first to register, and so on. This may be helpful if you need to decide who deserves a spot on a team in case you have too many individuals. Also, we have their teammate requests, the comments they left when they registered, their phone, email, shirt size if this is a league that involves shirts, and then skill level for this particular league was a custom question that we added, so the custom questions are available there too. Over on the left, we can expand any individual and see more details about them. So we see all in one place for Jimmy Jones the registration date, exact time. We see the comments, the teammate requests that he's entered. Custom questions here, the skill level. Jimmy's skill level is 1, just here for the beer. And then we see any account notes that have been added to Jimmy's account. And we see that we've added Jimmy to the wait list and told him that the league is currently full, but we might contact him if somebody drops out. Lastly, if we need to see everything about Jimmy or maybe edit some of his info, we can go to his player detail page also. And that can be closed just like that. So let's move on to actually putting these individuals onto teams. I would like to first look and see at their sign-up comments to see if there are any special considerations. We see Jimmy says he's not a strong player, and Irene just wants to meet cool people. Nothing that we need to really take action on there. Teammate requests might be different. Let's see what we have here. Jimmy, non-competitive. Hank wants to have fun. Down here we have some more concrete teammate requests here. Linwood Jefferson would like to play with Chad Glidden and Melissa Wilson. Chad would like to play with Melissa Wilson and Linwood Jefferson, and Melissa just mentioned Linwood, but presumably she also knows Chad. So these three could be sort of the core of our first team. That'll give us a place to start, but let's also double check the skill levels and see how that's going to break down, because that might be important too. Now this particular league, I'm going to have individual teams of 7 players apiece or so, and I'm not actually going to put players on the Blasters, so that will mean I will need 2 teams, and I want to sort of split up the individuals evenly based on skill. So if I look at the 3 people who have requests for players, we see Melissa has given herself a skill rating of 3, which is on the higher end. We only have one other 3 here with James Nally, and then we have only 1 4, that's Liz Sanders, and we see that she's not accepted her spot yet, but we can probably assume that she's going to. That's sort of up to your policies, but we've decided to offer her a spot. She just hasn't replied yet. So Melissa's friends were Linwood, who's skill level 1, and Chad, who's skill level 2. So it looks like if we make those three on the same team, we won't necessarily be building a super team or anything, so that's probably okay. Let's put them on Indy number 1. And since I'm not going to use the blasters, I do need to create another team. Let's create Indy number 2. And since Melissa was a 3 and we put her onto Indy number 1, let's take Liz, who's a 4, and put her on Indy number 2. And let's put James there too. Right now, maybe Indy 2 is a little bit stronger because they have a 3 and a 4, and Indy 1 has just one of the 3s and a 1 and a 2. So maybe when we divide up the rest, we'll put more 2s onto Indy number 1 and more 1s onto Indy number 2. Another thing we want to keep in mind, though, is the gender matchup. So let's just start moving these players around. I'm not going to put Jimmy on a team yet. Okay, so each team has 7 players. Team number 1 has 4 males and 3 females. Team number 2 has 3 males and 4 females, so they're both as evenly balanced as they could be. Jimmy is only going to get a spot if somebody doesn't end up playing. Maybe that would be the one player, Liz Sanders, who was not quite confirmed yet. But we've now got our teams. We can go back to the teams and players and view how those individuals look. And going down to the bottom here, we see that our players are all assigned to teams except for Jimmy Jones, who's still unassigned because he's on the wait list. And we can keep an eye on Liz, see if she confirms her spot, and offer Jimmy the spot if she doesn't.